stop the State Department, stop Homeland, stop Doge, stop Social Security, and more. Oh, look who it is. Mark Elias, the Elias Law Group.
And if Justice Roberts wants to cut this off, he should act now.
Do it!
Because this is going to get worse, not better.
Especially people with disabilities. Are you going to do anything to stop what's happening?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it. Wow.
Democrats suing everybody. Trump came out, issued an executive order on the election changes. We covered it. Electoral reform, election integrity, very important words and concepts. And we'd like to undo everything the Democrats did when they perverted our elections, when they said that courts could change the election dates and deadlines and how they collected things without the legislature being involved in all. The courts came out and said COVID justified these changes. Trump's undoing that. And look who showed up. Not a surprise. In the District of Columbia, the DNC is suing, the Democrat Governors Association, the Democrat Senate Committee, the Democrat Congressional Committee, so the House, and Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, okay? They are mad. Chuck Schumer from the Senate, Hakeem from the House, the major political parties for both the Senate and the House, the governors, and the entire DNC. They all got together at one of their little parties and filed a lawsuit. Now they're suing basically everybody. So Trump, Executive Office of the President, the Election Commission, the DOJ, Doge, State, Homeland, DOD, Veterans, Small Business, Interior, Social Security. They are suing Benjamin, of all people, and Donald, and Thomas, and Christie, and Pamela Bondi, and Amy Gleason, and Rubio, and Noem, and Hegseth, and Collins, and Kelly Loeffler, and even Doug Burgum in Leland. Can you believe this? So the Democrats are mad. They are unhappy with Trump's executive order, and they're obviously freaked, as you can see, by all the parties that are here. And they're suing in D.C. This case got assigned to a Bill Clinton judge. Her name is Colleen Kolar-Cotterly. It's the 3CK kind of sounding names. We'll get you. Colleen Kolar-Cotterly, Bill Clinton appointed judge, is now receiving this case brought by the Democrats, saying, all right, in the United States, the president doesn't get to dictate the rules of our elections. Okay, well, then how come you guys tried to do that with Joe Biden and had Joe Biden's DOJ prosecute Trump in 2 different locations? Now, the framers of our federal constitution saw that self-aggrandizing leaders might want to corrupt our system. Yeah, in Federalist 51, one of the best ones, right? James Madison talking about ambition versus ambition. So they created decentralized systems, blah, 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 blah. But now Trump is seeking to impose radical changes. And we like to read this from the Democrats' perspective to see how much winning we're doing from their victimization, from their perspective. It's just kind of fun. On how Americans register to vote. And we're going to be threatened. The order attacks dozens of states that have properly and lawfully adopted ballot receipt deadlines, okay, that permit ballots to be cast by election day and to count if received. So remember that? So we saw a lot of this during COVID, and the courts came in here and shifted a bunch of stuff. And then guys like Mark Elias and Democracy Docket filed all those lawsuits via the Retired Alliance of America and all these fake organizations that we're now learning about what they really are. They were suing under all those names. We're watching it happen now, just like the AIDS doctors and the Global Health Council and all of it, right? So they said, as long as it's cast, so like, at T-1 hour until the polls close, as long as you get your vote in and shove it in the mail and you can backdate it and stamp it or whatever, it counts. So now Trump issued an order. He says, oh, this is ridiculous. And what he's going to do is impose unjustifiable burdens on all Americans. And the Democrats say it's going to harm families and women and lower income voters. And look how mad they are. And the so-called Doge department is going to look at people's sensitive info without any statutory authority. Oh, I think this is probably it. Trump's executive order forces federal agencies to reveal sensitive data about millions of voters to Doge. We have seen what Doge came up with when they went and looked at the Social Security Administration, what they found. What are they going to find when they look at the election access information? That's going to be epic. So this is why they're all freaked. That's why they're all suing. And it wields federal dollars as a cudgel to 4 states to do Trump's bidding to the detriment of their voters. And it's going to deprive them of crucial grants that fund elections and law enforcement. Again, cutting off their election money, which was their get out the vote money, right? That was their busing people from all over the place to these certain polls and stuff. Although the order reflects, they write, Trump's personal grievances, it imposes sweeping changes on how Americans vote. They say Trump has no authority to do this. And the plaintiffs in this action are all the Democrats. And I mean like all of them. That carries weight with it, right? Wow. It's like everybody. It's like the Senate and the House. They're all suing. So this judge is going to take it seriously and grant them probably what they want. So the DNC is the oldest committee, blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares about these Democrat hack committees. And you see the rest of this. In conclusion, here's what they want. Trump issued an executive order. They're asking the Bill Clinton judge saying, please declare that Trump's executive order is void and that it's not enforceable and it violates separation of powers and everything. Okay, stop Pam Bondi from doing this. Stop the State Department. Stop Homeland. Stop DOJ. Stop Social Security and more. Oh, look who it is. Mark Elias, the Elias Law Group. Ah, perfect. Okay, so they're back. So we'll add this to the list. Mark Elias coming in. And that's interesting because the Democrats, I thought that they separated with Mark Elias. They terminated that relationship, huh? Something happened there. And now they're crawling back to him like, please help us. Trump's going to undo everything that you did in changing all these rules. And so they bring out the big guns. That's like the top dog. This is like the top dog election lawyer. Okay, so they're free. So they're going to really turn this into something and try to stop Trump from reforming the elections because this is just like everything else. It's the same pattern. All the USAID stuff, fake, grifted garbage, as we're seeing. How many millions of social security numbers did Elon discover that were granted to illegal aliens? We got Trende Aragua doing cartwheels around here, filing asylum claims 10 years after the fact with our judges because they know that there's nothing we can do about it. It's a joke. Mark Elias, the same thing. As soon as we get this election information, we're going to see the same gigantic facade that was stood up on our taxpayer dollars, and the infrastructure is going to crumbling down. That's why they're freaked. They know this is going to be the mother lode, and we're excited for it. So here's more. We had this hearing today about these judges, and of course, they sued in DC. They got a Bill Clinton judge, and they're going to have fun with that. But Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House and astute American historian, is explaining exactly how these activist judges are being weaponized against Trump and against America.
I think the courts have issued nationwide injunctions against President Trump with such frequency. It's kind of a question we're all pondering right now.
You know, one of my favorite books on the law is The Bramble Bush, which is the 1929 introductory lectures at Columbia Law School, in which draws a distinction between the law as it is practiced and the law as it is written. At a common sense level, we be honest, Donald Trump represents a profound, fundamental shaking up of a very deeply resistant establishment, which can be traced back to Franklin Roosevelt in 1933. You take on a system that's almost 100 years old, the system fights back. The last great bastion of power held by the left is district court judges and their allies on the Supreme Court. And they're behaving as a historian. This is a perfectly natural thing. They're doing everything they can to stop the president, who was elected by millions of Americans. They were elected by no one, but under our system, they have a certain amount of power. Not nearly as much as the modern legal system believes, because the 1958 decision by the Supreme Court, which said we are supreme, is baloney. Supreme Court is supreme in Article 3. It is not supreme over the whole Constitution. And I think we're now going to face genuinely important, historic conversation as a country about whether or not unelected judges on a randomized basis, who happen to be 92% Democrat, have the power to stop
Interesting how
the
that
elected
works.
commander-in-chief on item after item after item. My guess is the American people will say to the legislative branch, you got to be kidding me. And if Justice Roberts wants to cut this off, he should act now.
Do it!
Because this is going to get worse, not better.
Thank you, Newt. John Roberts. Maybe he'll issue another statement about Newt Gingrich. You know, this is offensive, Newt. Don't talk about the Chief Justice that way. I respect your elders, or something. Or, John, you could just get your house in order. Stop this madness. All right, so good developments there. Now, this is another clip. Also, from Congress, lots happening there today. And the Democrat lawyers are freaked out. Election changes coming down that are going to evaporate their so-called lead in elections. And now their bureaucrats are being fired. Their NGOs are being defunded. And this guy was very unhappy about it. He came out, said, I just got fired. This HHS worker was going after a senator, Jim Banks, following him around the halls of Congress. And here is how this exchange went down.
Hi, I was a worker at HHS. I was fired illegally on February 14th. There are many people who are not getting social service programs, especially people with disabilities. Are you going to do anything to stop what's happening?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it.
Dude, that's
Wow.
so rude and sad.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Why did I deserve it?
Because you seem like a clown.
Okay, sir, you shouldn't have said that.
Hi, I was a worker.
I can't get over the timing of that because you are acting like a clown. So that's what we're seeing. Clowns acting like clowns, clowns getting fired, and senators just not taking it anymore. Okay, stop with your sob story. Stop with the low income disadvantaged families are not going to be able to go poll, not go vote somewhere. Mark Elias, we're not buying it anymore. Stop acting like clowns.